Well, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness and his commitment, while his success is beyond argument. He gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who is an effective builder of building for the builder of people. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here, and I was with Jesse last year, and we had a lot of fun, and it was a little different. We had a real panel where you asked questions and everything, and we didn't do so much speaking, so I'm going to get off here very quickly because I want to hear some questions. Jesse started off by saying most of the wealth in this country is in the hands of a few. And I thought to myself, is that a bad thing? What's wrong with that, Jesse? But he did have an expression last year, and I was just telling Roger, he had an expression last year, the wall on wall must fall. And you haven't used it today, and I'm very disappointed in this, Jesse, because I thought it was a great expression. And I heard the expression about 14 times, and then he came to me at the end of the session, and he said, listen, I want some office space in your building on Wall Street, because the wall on wall will fall. And I said, it's okay, Jesse, I'll make a good deal with you. I'll get you some space. You'll pay about $40 a foot. And he said, no, I don't want to pay 40. I said, how about 30? No. It was the cheapest deal I ever made in the history of 40 Wall Street. Is that right? He got it for nothing. He's a very tough negotiator. We know that, right? Nah, he's a terrific guy. We love him, and I'm here for him. And the snow came, and I said, gee, nobody's going to show up, and look at this place, it's packed.
Why doesn't President Trump condemn racism? His own words and actions tell you why. He's a racist. Well, let me not mince words here. This president traffics in racism. Roseanne's tweet was straight up racist, yet the president failed to condemn it. Why? Because he can't. Because his own words and actions are racist too. And we have to stop pretending that this president has nothing to do with it, that he's not emboldening racist and racism.
Not anymore, right? But you're not intimidated by the forces of political correctness because you embrace your own right to free thought and to free speech. History is fashioned by those like you who step up to the plate and get into the game and get the grand slam home run. I was going to say home run. Let's go for the grand slam home run. Right? That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing, man. That's what you're doing. But you are demanding a better kind of politics in America. Really are. One where those who have the courage to speak are not attacked, but instead really applauded for what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're helping people.
This is time for us to say, Kanye, we as African-American people cannot stand idly by while you give cover to a man who is proved to be a white supremacist. This is white supremacy by ventriloquism. A black mouth is moving but right racist ideals are flowing from Kanye West's mouth.
For example, we are grateful to Kanye West. How about Kanye? How about Kanye? I don't know. And, you know, Kanye was very interesting because we get these poll numbers, and a lot of them are fake polls. I call them fake polls. And one of the pollsters comes, Kanye leaves, and Kanye's really a great guy. He's a little different, do we say? He's a little different. But he's a smart guy and a good guy. And Kanye came up, and he hugged me, and he's wearing the Make America Great Again cap, and he said, this cap, I feel like Superman. But he understands he's really something very, very special and interesting, and I see why people like him. But he came up, and a couple of days go by, and the pollsters come in. You know, you're falling asleep. They're giving you the same numbers that they've been for the... Sir, what's happened with the African American community? I said, I don't know. Tell me, what's happening? I don't know. I wasn't thinking. They said, your numbers have gone up like 26 points, which is unheard of. So I think Kanye, he may be the most powerful man in all of politics, right? And he sat and he watched Kanye, and I watched Kanye, and Jim's going, man, I've never heard anybody like this. You know, Jim is the strong, silent type, and that's good too. They both believe in us. They both believe in what we're doing, as do many others, many, many others. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And many of you have been attacked and called vicious names for being willing to speak out for what we all believe in.
It was not a summit. It was a Make America Great rally. They used some young blacks as props, which really is an insult to them.
It's a movement of tolerance and unity and progress, and a lot of people don't understand that, but they're finding it out. They're attacking us because we are speaking the truth, changing people's minds, and proving every day that our policies work and that we are really doing what's right and what's good. And I get attacked also. You get attacked. I get attacked all the time.
We have a white nationalist president who's a threat to American democracy.
People know when you say nationalism, smart people know what that is a dog whistle for.
Well, let me ask you,
and it's a wink and a nod to white nationalism.
I know it sounds cynical, but this man doubled down after 11 beautiful people were shot and killed while worshiping. For what? Some ideal of whiteness that Donald Trump represents and spews out of his mouth every single day.
I could just look at these incredible, beautiful, and handsome faces. See, today you're not allowed to use those terms because, you know, they'll say, oh, but you know what? I'll use it anyway. Beautiful, handsome. Well, look at all these handsome faces. I'll use it. I see it. You really understand what's happening. You've got it. You know, you're very special. You've got it. And that's why you're here. And other people aren't. But there's a word. A lot of people are jealous of you. They're very jealous. And jealousy is a very bad thing. It's mean. It's nasty.
What do you think of Cory Booker's, and you didn't comment on him, and you feel free.
Oh, I adore him.
What do you think about him saying kicked him in the shins, essentially? Start to get to that kind of political.
Well, that was Eric Holder.
Yeah, Eric Holder,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know they all look alike.
No, they don't.
Our state director is Indian American, but he does an amazing job. Our director of all constituent services, she's African American, but she does an even more incredible job than you could ever imagine.
Do you think part of the problem is the daily recitation of groupthink, group rights? You get it a lot in our universities and colleges. You see it on television a lot. Politicians balkanizing the nation in order to empower themselves and their party and so forth. Isn't that part of the problem?
What I think you're pointing to is definitely maybe the overriding problem, which is, and we don't talk about it very much at all, is white guilt. And that keeps feeding whatever blacks are doing that's not helping them, thinking of themselves as nothing more than members of a group, of protesting and so forth. It's white guilt that keeps feeding that. What is white guilt? We always, we think, well, do I wake up in the morning and feel guilty about, black Americans? No. White guilt doesn't have anything to do with actual feelings of guilt. White guilt is the terror of being seen as a racist, as a bigot. That now pervades American life. All our social policy, our culture, everything is touched by this anxiety in most of white America. Understandably, given America's history, that they're vulnerable. They have this vulnerability to being disarmed of moral authority by being called a racist.
Why doesn't President Trump condemn racism? His own words and actions tell you why. He's a racist. Well, let me not mince words here. This president traffics in racism. Roseanne's tweet was straight up racist. And we have to stop pretending that this president has nothing to do with it, that he's not emboldening racist and racism.
I can use it as a weapon. I can say, I went on a Levin show. Let me tell you the way I was treated. And it explodes. So it constitutes, that is black power. White guilt is black power. They're virtually one and the same. And one of the big problems we have is that you talk about universities and political correctness and so forth. These are all ways in which white Americans say, I'm innocent. I don't feel this way. I'm not a bigot. I'm not a racist. I'm innocent. And white guilt causes this drive to prove and establish innocence. And so then we have a whole generation of black leaders who do one thing and one thing only: milk white guilt.
A man who is proved to be a white supremacist. This is white supremacy by ventriloquism. A black mouth is moving, but white racist ideals are flowing from Kanye West's mouth.
It was not a summit. It was a Make America Great rally. They used some young blacks as props.
It's white guilt is meant to disarm you of moral authority. It's when they scream racism all the time, they're saying you're a racist. You don't have the moral authority to deal with whatever issue or problem we're dealing with because you're a racist, and so therefore you are morally compromised. Because whites are still so vulnerable to that charge of being a racist, that is the power, all of the power of the American left is based on that guilt. The essence of American liberalism, I think, is the pursuit of innocence. Innocence of specifically the ugly American past. And that's why, because I am free of that ugliness and innocent of it, that's why you should vote for me. That's why you should let me change this aspect of the university system. That's why you should let me do any number of other things, not because I have better ideas, that I'm a better problem solver, but because I offer this identity of innocence.
on the campaign trail, you called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also
I don't know
saying
why you'd
that
say
the
that.
president...
It's such a racist
There are
question.
some people that say that now the Republican Party is seen as supporting white nationalists because of your rhetoric. What do you make of that?
I don't believe it. I don't know. Why do I have my highest poll numbers ever with African Americans? I love our country. I do. You have nationalists, you have globalists. I also love the world, and I don't mind helping the world, but we have to straighten out our country first.
But right now, since the 60s, white Americans have been guilty. And again, as I say, it's not that they feel guilt. It is that they feel this pressure, this threat. And so they behave guiltily. It's the behaving guiltily that is the problem.
There is still a silent majority who responds to these racially coded as probably the most generous way you would describe it.
He won, and he won, unfortunately, with a message that was racially motivated, that was false about this invasion of migrants.
But you know what? I'll use it anyway. Beautiful, handsome. Well, look at all these handsome faces. I'll use it. They both believe in us. They both believe in what we're doing, as do many others, many, many others. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. It's a movement of tolerance and unity and progress, and a lot of people don't understand that, but they're finding it out. They're attacking us because we are speaking the truth, changing people's minds, and proving every day that our policies work and that we are really doing what's right and what's good.
The freedom we have today is absolutely remarkable, and we as a people have not yet absorbed that. We've not absorbed the fact that our problem is no longer racism. Our problem is freedom. We have to learn to deal with freedom. And the only way to do that is it's going to have to be grounded in individual responsibility. That's the only chance you have with freedom, is to take charge of your life and make a life for yourself.